Hey everyone, and welcome. We're about to jump into a really groundbreaking update in the world of Rust programming. Seriously, this could change how we all think about building applications.
Just think about that for a second. What does a massive leap forward actually look like for a UI framework? I mean, we're not just talking about a couple of new widgets or some fresh colors. We're talking about a fundamental shift, a change in what's even possible for developers. And, well, that's exactly what we've got on our hands today.
So the news is this. The team behind the Rust GUI library just dropped version 0.14.0. And let me tell you, calling this a major update is kind of selling it short. This thing is a landmark release, so let's get into what makes it such a huge deal.
Okay, we're going to break down exactly why this version is turning so many heads. Not just for people already using Rust, but really for the whole Rust ecosystem.
Now, for anyone who's new to this, here is the quick rundown. Rust is a toolkit that lets you build graphical user interfaces. Desktop apps, web front ends, that sort of thing, all using Rust. The big idea behind it has always been to keep things simple, easy, and to use Rust's famous type safety to help you avoid those annoying, common bugs right from the start.
So, what's so special about this release? Well, it all kicks off with this trio of features that, honestly, are just pure gold for developers. These aren't just small tweaks. These are things that will completely transform your workflow.
First up, we've got reactive rendering. Okay, so instead of the old way of redrawing the entire screen every time something little changes, Rust is now smart enough to figure out exactly what changed and update only those specific little pixels. And the result? Your apps feel ridiculously fast and snappy. It's all about efficiency with zero wasted effort.
Next is something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie: time travel debugging. Look, every developer knows the pain of hunting down a weird bug, right? You're adding print statements everywhere, trying to recreate the exact sequence of clicks. It's a nightmare. Well, with time travel debugging, you can literally just rewind. You can step backward through your app's history state by state and pinpoint the exact moment things went wrong. It's an absolute superpower for fixing bugs. And rounding out this incredible trio is hot reloading. This is exactly what it sounds like. You change your UI code, you hit save, and boom, the change appears instantly in your running app. You don't have to wait for your whole project to recompile. That feedback loop is now immediate, which just makes building and polishing a UI so much faster.
You see, the really crucial thing here is how these three features work together. They create this incredibly smooth, fluid development experience. You're going to spend way less time waiting around for compiles or guessing where a bug is, and a whole lot more time actually creating cool stuff.
All right, so the workflow is a game changer, but that's not all. This release also just massively expands what you can actually build by adding a ton of new UI components to the toolbox. Let's see what's new.
And just look at this list. We've now got a native table widget for showing data, a really powerful grid for making those complex, responsive layouts, and a totally new animation API to bring your interfaces to life. But that's not all. There's now first-class support for end-to-end testing, which makes your apps way more reliable. Plus, you've got things like floating images and more customizable markdown to create richer content. It's a huge expansion.
So what this all means is pretty simple. Developers just aren't as limited anymore. The toolkit is now powerful enough that you can build much more sophisticated, feature-packed applications basically right out of the box.
Now look, flashy new features are always exciting, but we all know a framework is only as good as its foundation. And believe me, this release brought some major upgrades under the hood too.
If you look through the release notes, they are just filled with hundreds and hundreds of bug fixes and performance tweaks. This wasn't just about adding new toys to play with. It was about maturing the entire framework, making it faster, more stable, and truly reliable for production.
You know, a healthy project is one that keeps up with the times. Rust is now updated to the latest Rust 2024 edition. It's using the newest versions of its core graphics and text rendering libraries, and the team has been proactive about swapping out older, unmaintained dependencies. That shows a real commitment to the long-term health and security of the project.
And maybe the most impressive part of all this wasn't the work of a small handful of people. Over 100 different contributors had a hand in this release. That number, it just speaks volumes about how strong and vibrant the Rust community really is. It's a massive team effort.
So let's zoom out for a minute. What does a release this big really mean for the bigger picture, for the Rust language itself? Here's the most important takeaway from all of this. Rust 0.14.0 is way more than just an update.
It is a powerful statement. It's a signal that Rust is really, truly ready for the mainstream when it comes to building rich, complex, user-facing applications. The tools are getting more powerful, more mature, and more productive than ever.
And that leaves us with one final really interesting question to chew on. When we see the GUI ecosystem in Rust making these kinds of giant leaps forward, are we starting to see a future where Rust isn't just for low-level systems programming, but becomes a dominant force in building the everyday apps we all use? It's definitely something to think about.